I'm Terri J. Garofalo, Terri J Garofalo. I am a paranormal investigator and the author of Entities Are Us Ghost Hunter comic, a cartoon about the paranormal that appears daily on the web. My experience at the Patchett House was unique and amazing. The Patchett House has been around since the early 1800s. It was once a tavern and later on became the home of the Patchett family from the 1890s all the way up into the 70s, after which point it was used as a funeral home. Evidence of that is the embalming sinks that happen to be in the basement still. My experience at Patchett was very interesting. We went with my team to check this out, and our first foray into the Patchett was we had to enter through the basement because the person wasn't there to let us in, and then she basically said, go through the basement, which meant we went in down in the dark through where the embalming sinks are, all the spooky stuff was, looking for light switches and finding our way back up into the main part of the house. The house is gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful home, well appointed. It is now used as an art school, and people go there to paint and have classes on that, and they do a lot of stuff with the community, which is wonderful. But it's haunted. The people are still there. Emma, apparently, one of the last female surviving members of Patchett, apparently haunts the place for good reason. It was a beautiful home. It was her home, and she's attached to it at this point. There also seems to be other things. We found a male spirit who is very, very wanted to push you out. My first experience is I could feel pressure in the solar plexus. I tend to be sensitive, a little bit psychic, maybe not. And I could really feel the pressure of this one trying to get us out, which was very interesting. And it was corroborated by our other two members, Danny and Donna, who also felt similar experiences. That evening was very interesting because we didn't hear a lot of things necessarily. We didn't see a lot, but what we picked up on evidence afterwards was amazing. At one point I was taking photos from the sunroom out into the dining room, and I was just randomly shooting photos, and when I noticed while looking in my camera that one of them was a dark. So I went and I figured something was malfunctioning with my camera, so I went and checked it out. Went and reshot and shot and shot and shot. Couldn't recreate it. I said, was it my camera strap? I later went back to debunk it. Could not find anything that would cause this to happen. I know my camera very well, and I know what it's capable of and what it's capable of doing that isn't kosher. And that wasn't one of it. The interesting thing was, at the same time, we also got an EVP that says, I don't want to leave here. So that was amazing, and it was really loud. And I looked at the photos. It looked like something was approaching. The dark mass was approaching and then retreating, and I'm assuming the EVP came pretty much when it approached because it wanted to talk into my recorder and make a statement. I'm one of the co-founders of IndyPara Paranormal Group. We went in twice to the Patchett House. Our first time we went in with 3 girls, which was me and my co-founder Donna Parrish-Bishkoff and Danny Martinez. All of us were psychic, kind of. I'm not entirely psychic. I'm sensitive. I don't like to claim that, but Danny's a full-blown psychic. We went in as a threesome and really went to feel the place out, and we're pleasantly surprised that there was a lot of activity there that we were able to pick up on. On the second investigation, we went in with the Poughkeepsie Paranormal team and the male members of our team. Danny couldn't join us, but we had also Nathan Schoonover and Andy Seidel from our team. And from ProPair, we had Jimmy and Charlie and Ed, and they all teamed up with us for this one. They bring in a lot more equipment than we do. We tend to go in a little sparse with just mostly our recorders and things. Nathan might bring a little extra and Andy might bring a little extra, but most of us kind of go bare bones. Poughkeepsie Paranormal comes in with all the infrared video and all that, and that adds an extra dimension to our team, so we like to work with them. The second time we went to the Patchett, we went with another team, and we had very, very interesting experiences. I could actually feel the energy in one of the rooms, that is the one off the stairs, and you could feel this intense energy. So we started communicating with it, and we got a lot of action on the K2 meter. When you'd ask it a question, it would kind of flash an answer for us, which was very exciting. And the other thing is I could feel heat at that point. Usually you feel cold spots, but this place you were feeling heat because it was trying to generate enough activity to do something. And what it did wind up doing was setting off a walkie-talkie. And the amazing thing is this walkie-talkie sounded like someone was going, ah, which really flipped us out, because we went back and forth with everybody else who had walkie-talkies. Did you say that? No, I didn't. Where was your walkie-talkie? What happened? None of the other ones went off, just the one that was with us, which is impossible. So that was really an exciting thing. And also, I was asking questions, and I could feel the heat in front of my recorder. And then I heard an audible voice, and I could just hear it, and I was really surprised to actually hear this voice, which it's very rare. I mean, sometimes you can hear it, but hear these things, but very rare. And the interesting thing is I did pick up an EVP, but the EVP sounded a little bit different. It was like more tinny than normal EVPs that we experience. So this was really exciting because I picked up what we heard. And I wasn't the only one who heard it, so that means that there's probably an actual piece of evidence here. The thing is, when you're dealing with the paranormal, you'll want to discount a lot of physical evidence because a lot of it can be attributed to other things, noises and stuff, from furnaces to people making blowing their nose or shifting their weight. So you can't really count too much, and even a lot of photographs. It's really hard to prove that any of these things are true. But the evidence we got at Patchett House was really stunning, because most of the EVPs I got were actually really loud and very clear, particularly from the male spirit. Whatever it was, he wanted to communicate. I'm assuming he was associated with the tavern. It was interesting because I went and researched to find out what the name of the tavern was. When I was up in the attic with Jimmy, one of the other investigators from Para, we were up there, and I actually got an EVP that called the place the Goshen Tavern. I haven't found definitive evidence that this is actually what it was called, but spiritually, at least, we have some sort of evidence as to what the name of the place was before the Patchett family owned it. I'd love to go back here. I'd love to spend some more time and get to know the spirits here. For me, I don't need to prove that ghosts exist. At this point, I know they exist. I've had enough experience. My personal experiences from when I was fresh out of college, I had some major paranormal experiences. I lived in a couple of haunted houses. So for me, I don't need to prove it. But what I like to do is communicate. I like to meet, find out who these people are, whether they need to learn to cross over, or why they're attached to the building that they are, and maybe hopefully if somebody's having trouble with one, be able to work out a dialogue between both parties so that they both can coexist, living with the unliving. Because it's true, they're spirits, they're people. They're just like you or I, and they just don't have a body. So that's the beauty of being a paranormal investigator. You can actually bridge the gap for people, so we can have some sort of an understanding. And the more I do this, the more I learn, the more I communicate, the more interesting the dialogues get, and it's nice to repeat on a place. So I can't wait to go back to the Patchett, because the Patchett's just a wonderful, interesting, history-filled